You know, every business out there, from the corner store to a global giant, they all face the same exact challenge. How do you make smart financial decisions to not just scrape by, but to actually grow and succeed? So, how do the pros really learn to do this? Let's get into it. To figure this out, we're not going to use some random textbook or a blog post. No, our guide for this is the real deal, the actual syllabus from a master's level finance course. We're going to use this curriculum as our roadmap to see exactly how financial experts are taught to think.
So, what's actually inside this thing? Well, I want you to think of a financial manager not as some number cruncher, but more like a business doctor. Their entire job is to keep the company healthy and growing. And this course? This is basically their medical school.
Okay, so you're in business med school. What's the very first lesson? Well, it's probably not a formula or some fancy technique. The first thing you have to learn is the ultimate goal. What is the doctor actually trying to achieve here?
And boom, there it is, right in Unit 1. The goal isn't just about making a profit this quarter. Nope, it's about the creation of value. And that's a much bigger, much more important idea. It's about building something sustainable, something that has long-term worth for everyone involved. That is the mission.
All right, once a doctor knows their mission, they need to learn how to diagnose the patient. For a business, that means learning how to read its vital signs, its core health charts. And these right here are the four big ones, pulled straight from Unit 2 of the course. You can think of them as the four vital signs. The income statement tells you if the business is making money. The balance sheet gives you a snapshot of what it owns versus what it owes. The statement of retained earnings shows you what profits are being put back into the company. And, so important, the statement of cash flow tells you where the actual real cash is going. This is the foundation of any financial checkup.
But just looking at a bunch of raw numbers doesn't tell you the whole story, right? As Unit 3 explains, you need tools to really interpret what you're seeing. That's where a financial ratio comes in. It takes the data from those vital signs and turns it into something meaningful. It's like the difference between just seeing a number and understanding if it represents healthy blood pressure or a dangerously high heart rate.
Okay, now this is where the diagnostics get really cool. This is the DuPont system. It's absolutely brilliant because it breaks down a company's performance into its most essential parts. It shows you how a company is getting its results. Is it super profitable? Is it really efficient with its assets? Or is it using a lot of debt? This system connects all the dots, so you get the full picture, not just one misleading number. You know, any good doctor knows that you can't just look at the patient in a vacuum. Their environment matters a lot. And it's the exact same for a business. So after learning how to diagnose from the inside, the course moves on to understanding the outside world, the world of risk, return, and financial markets. And this right here from Unit 5 is the fundamental trade-off at the heart of all finance: risk and return. You just can't have one without the other. If you want a bigger potential reward, you almost always have to take on more uncertainty. And so much of modern finance is about learning how to measure, manage, and balance this exact relationship. So that's a nice idea, but how do you actually put a number on that relationship? Well, one of the classic tools they teach, right here in Unit 5.4, is something called the Capital Asset Pricing Model, or CAPM for short. It's a foundational formula that tries to figure out exactly how much return you should demand for taking on a certain amount of risk. It's a really key piece of the toolkit. Okay, let's recap. Our business doctor has diagnosed the patient's health, and they understand the world it's living in. So what's next? Well, now it's time to prescribe the treatment. It's time to make those big, strategic decisions that are going to shape the company's future. And this is the million, sometimes billion-dollar question. These massive investment decisions have a name. It's called capital budgeting, and it's one of the most critical things a financial manager does. How on earth do you know if a huge, expensive project is actually going to be worth it? The answer is you don't just guess. Unit 7 lays out a whole toolkit for this. Methods like net present value, or NPV, and internal rate of return, or IRR, they're all different ways of stress testing an idea to see if it will truly create value for the company down the line. And, of course, nothing is free. Every big project, every treatment has a price tag. And I'm not just talking about the sticker price. I'm talking about the cost of the money itself that's used to fund it. As Unit 8 explains, companies calculate this thing called their weighted average cost of capital. Basically, it's the average price they pay for their funding. And that number becomes the hurdle that any new project has to clear to even be considered. So we've walked through the whole process, right? From diagnosis to treatment. But this syllabus points to something bigger. Something that ties all these technical skills together.
It's kind of like the financial world's version of the Hippocratic Oath.
I mean, just look at this. This is a direct quote from the program's own learning outcomes. The goal is to intervene responsibly in society and promote the common good. Wow, that's the real point here, isn't it? All those tools we just talked about, the ratios, the models, the analysis, at the end of the day, they're meant to be used not just for profit, but for a greater purpose.
And that really brings us to the final takeaway. And it's a question for you. If all this financial machinery is really just a powerful tool for creating value, and its highest calling is to serve the common good, then what kind of value would you choose to create? It's something to think about.